Raleigh police are investigating the twisted murder of a recent
Police
bride.
say the suspicious deaths of 4 people found in a home yesterday is now a murder investigation.
That man now charged with attempted murder in a shooting that ended with a 22-month-old boy in a coma.
Crime of violence against this woman, Isabella Guzman. She's accused of stabbing her mother 79 times.
Now to the manhunt underway after the murder of an 18-year-old college freshman.
The Connecticut man Fotis Doulos now charged with murdering his missing wife.
Authorities searching for a murder suspect from Connecticut.
He's 18 years old. He's charged with first-degree murder.
Tonight, a man's behind bars charged with
trial
murder.
Was found guilty of first-degree murder.
Accused of a series of robberies and a murder all within a day and a half.
Patriarch was stabbed to death.
And killing a man.
Murder of their 2 young daughters.
Murder. Murder.
Murder.
Murder. Murder.
Murder.
Murder.
Murder.
Murder. Murder.
Murder.
Murder in the first degree, premeditated homicide, is the most serious charge tried in our criminal courts. You have heard a long and complex case, ladies and gentlemen, and it is now your duty to sit down and try to separate the facts from the fancy. One man is dead, and the life of another is at stake. If there is reasonable doubt in your minds to the guilt of the accused, then you must declare him not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then he must be found guilty. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You are faced with a grave responsibility. At this time, the court will dismiss you to your individual rooms. At that time, please log into your court-appointed computers and begin the process of deliberation. Clearly, ladies and gentlemen, this is a moment that is meant to be conversed together. But considering the circumstances that our country, as well as our world, is experiencing, we must make do. The court apologizes for any discomfort, be it the heat of the day, the inconvenience you are all facing through isolation and having to go to your respected rooms. However, I am confident that you will all do your duty. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Remember that old trip that we did? Yeah!
You guys know something?
I know lots of things,
really
lady. I'm
hot.
in advertising. I never would have known had you not told me. Would you number 2?
I suppose not. I guess I've kind of forgotten.
I love somebody sweat.
Sir, are you saying something?
Yeah, I bet you aren't sweating like that kid in there, though.
You'd think they'd at least air condition the place. Earlier, I almost dropped that in court. This should go fast anyway.
Yeah, it's hot.
Did they lock our doors?
Yeah, they did.
Who do you think we are, crooks?
They lock us up in here for a little while.
And then they lock that kid up forever, and that's fine by me.
I never knew they locked the doors.
Or if they locked the door. What'd you think they did?
I just didn't know. It never
We
occurred
know
to me.
right now that it's hot and humid and that our tempers are going to be short.
It's been a pretty long week.
I feel just fine.
I wonder what's been going down at the office. You know how it is in advertising. In 6 days, I could lose my job. The company isn't going to like this one.
Well, figure this is our duty.
No, I didn't object to doing my duty, lady, okay? I just mentioned that I might not have a job by the time I get back.
Well, why don't you ask that fourth guy to hire you? Look at his suit. He's rich.
That custom tailored?
It is, yeah.
I have an uncle who's a tailor.
Really? How's he do?
Not too well. You know, a friend of his that's a friend of my uncle, the tailor. Well, this friend wanted to be on the jury in my place.
Why didn't you let him? I would have done anything to miss this.
Get caught or something? You know what kind of fine you could pay for something like that? Anyway, this friend of my uncle's was on a jury once about 10 years ago, a case just about like this one.
So what happened?
They let him off, reasonable doubt. And you know, about 8 years later, they found out he'd actually done it anyway. A guilty man, a murderer, was turned loose to the streets.
Did they get him?
They couldn't.
Why not?
A man can't be held in double jeopardy. Unless it's a hung jury, they can't charge a man twice for the same crime.
Well, that isn't going to happen here.
6 days? They should have had it done in 2. All they do is talk. Talk. Did you ever hear so much talk about nothing?
I guess they're all entitled.
Yeah, everybody is entitled to a fair trial, you know? That's the system. Can't say anything against that.
Hey, how did you guys like the business with the knife? Had you guys ever heard of a phonier story?
Well, look, you got to expect that. You know what you're dealing with.
He bought a switch knife that night.
And then he lost it.
A hole in his pocket.
A hole in his father.
An awful way to kill your father, a knife in his head.
Well, look at the kind of people they are. You know them.
Oh, what's the matter, Ten? You got a cold?
Yes, these hot weather colds will kill you.
Tell me about it. I had one last year. I was on vacation, actually.
All right, gentlemen and ladies, let's take seats.
Oh, this better go fast. It's my weekend with the kids.
Jury, how about sitting down?
Oh, goodness, I'm so sorry.
No, it's tough to figure, isn't it? Kid kills his father, bing, just like that. Well, it's the elements. They let the kids run wild. Maybe it serves them right.
There are better proofs than some emotions you may have, you know, perhaps a dislike for some group.
We all agreed that it was hot.
And that our tempers will get short.
But that's if we disagree. This should be open and shut real quick.
All right, well, you jurors can handle this any way you want to. I mean, I'm not going to make any rules. If you want to discuss it first and then vote, that's one way, or we can vote now and see how we stand.
Let's vote now, because then who knows? Maybe we can all go home.
Yeah, let's see who's where.
Right, let's vote now.
All right, anybody doesn't want to vote?
Well, that was easy.
Okay, all those voting guilty, raise your hands. Nine, 10, 11, 12. 12 guilty, or 11 guilty, I'm sorry. Not guilty.
I mean, come on, you're in left field. What's up with it?
Okay, 11 to 1, 11 guilty, 1 not guilty. Now we know where we stand.
Listen, do you really believe he's not guilty?
I don't know.
After 6 days, he doesn't know. She doesn't know, sorry.
In 6 days, I could learn calculus. This is A, B, and C.
I don't believe this is as simple as A, B, and C.
I never saw a guiltier man in my life.
What does a guilty man look like? He's not guilty until we say he is guilty. Are we to vote on his face?
Dude, come on, you heard the same things we all did in court, okay? This man's a dangerous killer. You could see it.
Where do you look to see if a man is a killer?
Well,
I would like to know. Tell me the facial characteristics of a killer are. Maybe you know something I don't.
Look, what is there about this case that makes you think that the boy is innocent?
He's 19 years old.
Oh, come on, that's old enough. 4 inches right in his own chest. Right in his 4 inches in his father's own chest. A nice, innocent little 14-year-old kid.
Look, okay, juror number 3, I agree with you that the boy is guilty, but I think we should try to avoid emotionally colored arguments.
All right, it proves it a dozen different ways. Do you want me to list them?
No.
Well, 8, do you believe that stupid story he told?
No, come on.
No, do you believe the kid's story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
Then what'd you vote not guilty for?
There were 11 votes for guilty. It's not so easy for me to just raise my hand and send a boy off to die without talking about it first.
Who says it's easy for me?
Or me?
No one.
He's just as guilty whether it's an easy vote or a hard one.
Is there something wrong because I voted fast?
Not necessarily.
Look, I think the kid's guilty, and you couldn't change my mind if you talked for 100 years.
I don't want to change your mind.
Then what are you thinking of?
I want to talk for a while. Look, this boy, he's been through a lot. Kicked around all his life, living in a slum. His mother dead since he was 9. That's not a very good head start. He's a tough, angry kid. You know why slum kids get the way they are? Because we knock them over the head once a day, every day. I think maybe we owe him a few words. That's all.
All right. It's hard. Sure. It was hard for me. Everything I've got, I fought for. I worked my way through college, and that was a long time ago, and perhaps you do forget, but yes, I fought, but come on, I never killed anyone.
Yeah, I know what it's like, but I never killed anybody.
I've been kicked around too. Wait until you worked in an ad agency and the big boy comes in who's buying the ad, walks in. We all know.
See, in my country, in Europe, being kicked was a science, but let's find something better than that.
Okay, just look. I don't mind telling you this, miss. We don't owe the kid a thing. I mean, he got a fair trial, didn't he? And I mean, you know what that trial cost? He's lucky he got it. Look, we're all grown-ups here, okay? You're not going to expect us to believe him, knowing what he is. I mean, I've lived among them all my life. You can't believe a word they say. You know that.
I don't know that, but a terrible thing for a person to believe. Since when is dishonesty a group characteristic? You have no monopoly on the truth.
Okay, come on. Quiet down now. It's not Sunday. There's no
What
need
this
for
woman
sermon.
says is very dangerous.
I don't see any need for arguing like this. Come on. I think we ought to be able to discuss this case like humans.
Right.
Oh, all right, if you insist.
Thank you.
Sure.
If we're going to discuss this case, let's discuss the facts.
I think that's a good point. We have a job to do. Let's do it.
Yes.
I may have an idea. I'm just thinking out loud, but it seems to me that we have to convince number 8 that we're right and that she's wrong.
I like that. If we go in order one by one, maybe we can try that on, see where we stand.
That sounds fair enough.
Yep, let's do it.
Supposing we go once around?
Yeah.
That'll work.
All right. We'll start off with juror 2.
Oh, well, I just think he's guilty. I thought it was obvious.
In what way was it obvious?
I mean that nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. Innocent until proven guilty. The burden of the proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't have to open his mouth. The Fifth Amendment, it's in the Constitution. You've heard of it.
Everyone's heard of it.
I've heard of it. And what I meant to say is, I think he's guilty.
No reasons, just guilty. There is a life at stake here.
Oh, okay then. Well, let's get to the facts. Number 1, let's take the old man who lived in the apartment just below where the murder happened. At 10 minutes after midnight, on the night of the killing, he heard a fight upstairs. He heard the kid say, "I'm going to kill you." He heard the kid yell, "I'm going to kill you." A second later, he heard a body fall. Then, what is it? He heard loud noises upstairs. The kid, he heard a body fall. He ran out to the front door. He saw the kid running down the stairs out of the apartment building. Okay? What else do you need? He called the police. The police found the father dead with a knife in his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death around midnight.
Right. Now, okay. What else do you need?
It doesn't seem to fit.
The boy's entire story is flimsy. I mean, he says he was at the movies with a friend. He can't even remember which show he saw. I mean,
that's right. That's absolutely right. I want you to listen to this guy, okay?
He didn't have a ticket stub either.
Who keeps a ticket stub at the movies?
True enough.
I suppose, but the cashier didn't remember him.
And the ticket taker didn't either.
Okay. Just look at the woman across the street. She saw the murder happen.
How can the woman across the street really be sure it was the kid when she saw it through the windows of a passing elevated train?
Okay, here's the story. The woman gets out of bed. She goes and looks around her house, and she sees across the window that the kid kills his father. I mean, she saw it.
I heard her swear to it.
Okay, and they proved in court that you can look across the window, and it was on an L train track, right? She looked across the window of a passing L train and saw him do it. They proved in court that you can look across the window of a passing L train and see what's happening on the other side. I don't understand.
Weren't you just telling us a minute or two ago that you can't trust them? That you can't trust them?
So?
Then I'd like to ask you something. How come you believed her? She's one of them too, isn't she?
You think you're pretty smart, don't you?
Okay. Yeah, come on. Calm down, okay? Don't let her get you riled up like that.
You know, they did take us out to the woman's apartment, right? And we looked through the windows of a passing elevated train. I mean, juror number 8, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Exactly. And you were able to see what happened on the other side, correct?
I didn't see as well as everyone said I would see, but yes, I was able to see the other side.
You see? Do you see?
Calm down now. Juror 5, it's your turn.
I'll pass it.
That's your privilege. Juror 6, how about you?
I don't know. I was starting to be convinced, with the testimony of the people across the street or the hall. Didn't they say something about hearing an argument between the father and the son at around 7 o'clock? I could be wrong.
I believe it was 8 o'clock, not 7.
That's right, 8 o'clock.
They heard the father hit the boy twice and then saw the boy walk angrily out of the apartment.
Right.
What does that prove?
Doesn't prove anything. It's just part of the big picture. I never said it proved anything.
Anything else?
Nope.
Juror 7?
Honestly, I think most of it's been said already. I mean, we could talk about this all day, but I really think we're wasting our time.
I don't think we're wasting our time.
Neither do I. Go on.
Okay, well, let's look at the kid's record, okay? He stole a car. He's been arrested for mugging. I think they said he stabbed somebody in the arm, right?
Yeah.
He's been picked up for knife fighting, and at 15, he was in reform school.
Sent him to reform school for stabbing someone.
No, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very fine boy.
Ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him regularly. He used his fists.
Okay, and so would I on a kid like that.
You're right, okay? It's the kids, the way they are, okay? They don't listen. I've got a kid. When he was 8 years old, he ran away from a fight. I was so ashamed. I told him flat out, son, I'm going to make a man out of you, or I'm going to beat you into a million little pieces trying. When he was 18, he punched me, haven't seen him in 3 years. I take tough kids, okay? You work your whole life, you break your heart out raising them, and then they... Okay, just go on with it.
Well, okay, I think we're missing the point here. This kid, let's say he's a product of a filthy neighborhood and a broken home. We can't change that. Okay, we're not here to debate if slums are breeding grounds for criminals, and we know they are. I know it, and so do you. Slums, the kids that come out of slum backgrounds are future potential menaces to society.
You said it there. I don't want any part of them, believe me.
I lived in a slum all my life.
Now, wait a second.
I used to play in a backyard that was filled with garbage. Maybe it still smells on me.
Now let's be reasonable. There's nothing personal.
There is something personal!
Okay, calm down, lady, okay? She didn't mean you.
Who did she mean?
I can understand the sensitivity.
Now let's stop the bickering. Jury.
Okay. I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow I felt that the defense counsel never thoroughly conducted a full cross-examination. Too many questions were left unasked.
While it doesn't change my opinion about the guilt of the boy, I agree with you. The defense counsel was awful.
No?
This is a point.
What about facts?
So many questions were left unanswered.
And what about the questions that were answered? For instance, let's talk about that cute little switch knife the boy bought on the night of the murder.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's get the evidence in here and see it. Miss Foreman, can we please look at the evidence?
We all know what it looks like. I don't think we have to see it again. Four, what do you think?
The woman does have a right to call evidence.
Oh, okay then.
Look, okay, juror number 8, this knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence, wouldn't you think?
No, yeah, it is.
No, let's get the sequences of events straight, how they relate to the knife.
Okay, I'll go first. The boy admits going out of his house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father.
Or punched.
Or punched, yeah. It says here, he went to the neighborhood store and bought a switch knife, and the storekeeper was arrested the following morning and admitted to selling it to him.
I think everyone agrees it's an unusual knife, okay? You wouldn't forget something like that.
The storekeeper even identified it as the only knife he had in stock of its kind. So why did the boy get it?
As a present for a friend of his, he says.
Am I right so far? Are my notes good?
Yes, that's correct.
You bet he's right, okay? Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Thank you. Next, the boy claims that on the way home, the knife must have fallen out through a hole in his pocket and he never saw it again. Isn't that a load of malarkey? Everyone, we know what happened. The boy came home and a few hours later killed his father, stabbed him right in the back. He even remembered to wipe off fingerprints. Everyone connected to this case can identify that knife. Now, you're trying to tell me that someone picked it up off the street, followed the boy home, and killed his father just to be amusing?
No, I'm saying it's possible that the boy lost the knife and someone else stabbed his father with a similar looking knife.
I mean, come on, take a look at that knife. It's a very strange knife. I mean, this kid's not James Dean. Have any of you actually ever seen a switch knife in real life, right? I haven't. It seems to be only a thing of movies, right? It's a strange knife. The storekeeper hadn't even seen one till he sold it. You're trying to make us accept an incredible coincidence here, number 8.
I'm not trying to make anyone accept it. I am just saying that it is possible.
And I'm saying it's not possible.
What is that?
What are you trying to do?
Oh my God.
What is this? Who do you think you are? Is that
Look
the
at
same
it.
knife?
It's the same knife.
Quiet. Let's be quiet.
Where did you get that?
I got it in a little junk shop around the corner from the boy's house. It cost $25.
Now listen to me.
I'm listening.
Okay, you pulled a real smart trick here, okay? But you proved absolutely nothing. Maybe there are 100 knives like that. It doesn't change anything.
Maybe there are.
Okay, the boy lied and you know it.
And maybe he didn't lie. Maybe he did lose the knife. And maybe he did go to the movies. Maybe the reason the cashier didn't remember him was because he sneaked into the movies, and maybe he was ashamed to admit that. Is there anyone here that didn't sneak into the movies once or twice when they were younger?
I didn't.
Not even once?
We didn't have movies.
Oh.
Well, Listen, maybe he did go to the movies and maybe he didn't. And he may have lied. 10. Do you think he lied?
Well, that's a stupid question. Sure, he lied.
Do you?
You don't have to ask me, of course. I think he lied, of course.
Juror 5, what about you? Do you think he lied?
I don't know.
Wait, what are you? The boy's lawyer? Now listen, there are 11 of us who think he's guilty. You're alone. What do you think you're going to accomplish here? If you're going to be stubborn and hang this jury, then he'll be tried again with 12 other people and found guilty.
You're probably right.
So what are you going to do about it? We could end up being here all night.
It's only one night. A man may die.
Juror 9, that's
Come
correct.
on.
It's only one night.
I think we should get going now.
You're like this guy.
Fine. 8, what do you say? You're the one holding up the show.
I have a doubt in my mind.
Sure. So you obviously agree that this boy, or think that this boy is guilty, but you haven't presented a single actual piece of evidence for us to back a not guilty verdict. I mean, it's the old man downstairs. First of all, he heard the kid shriek out at
the woman down across the L tracks. She saw it.
We know we bought a switch knife that night, okay? But we don't know where he really was. At the movies.
Earlier
Really?
that night, the kid and his father did have a fight.
He's been a violent kid through and through, and while that doesn't change anything,
Still, you know?
Look, I've got a proposition to make. I want to call for a vote. I want you 11 jurors to vote by secret poll. I will abstain. If there are still 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. Miss Foreman, can we take in a guilty verdict right now?
That sounds fair. Is everyone agreed?
Let's roll it. Perhaps this is best.
Okay. I'm setting up an anonymous poll. Please select guilty or not guilty. And it's out. As they come in, we have guilty, 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 guilty.
That's 6.
Guilty, guilty, not guilty, guilty.
How do you like that?
All right, who did it? I think we all have a right to know.
Okay. Yeah. Who did it? Which idiot changed his vote?
Is that the way to talk about a man's life?
Whose life are you talking about? The life of a dead man or the life of a murderer?
I want to know who did it.
So do I.
Excuse me, this was a secret ballot?
Okay, no one looked while we took the vote, but now I want to know.
A secret ballot. We agreed on the point now. If the person wants to remain a secret, then they should be able
What do you mean a secret? There are no secrets here. I know exactly who did it. Now, juror number 5, why'd you change your vote? Okay? This slick preacher comes in here, tells all these sad stories, tears your heart out with about little poor kids who just couldn't help but become murderers, and then you go ahead and change your vote. That isn't the most sickening thing I've ever heard of.
Number 3, I agree with you that the boy is guilty, but come on, let's be fair.
Be fair? That's just what I'm saying. We're trying to put a guilty man into the chair where he belongs, and all of a sudden we're paying attention to fairy tales.
Now, just a minute.
Now you listen to me.
Let's try to keep this organized, people.
Isn't organized, but let's try to be civilized.
Please, I would like to say something here. I have always thought that a man was entitled to have an unpopular opinion in this country. This is the reason I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree.
Do you disagree with us?
I mean, usually I do, but in this one case, I do agree. I wish to make, the point I wish to make is that in my country.
Okay, but look, do we have to listen to the whole history of your country? Come on.
It's always wise to bear in mind what goes on in places where people aren't allowed to freely disagree.
Exactly.
But this is America. We're allowed to disagree. So let's stick to the subject.
Yeah, I agree. Let's stick to the subject. Hey, 5, I want to know why you changed your vote.
I want to know too. You still haven't told us.
Why do you think I was the one that changed my vote?
Because I do. Now get on with it.
There's There's nothing for her to tell you. She didn't change her vote. I did.
I was gonna tell you, but you were so sure of yourself.
Okay, well, sorry.
Maybe you'd like to know why.
Let me tell you why. That kid is a
The man
murderer.
wants to talk.
Thank you. Now, juror number 8 chose not to stand alone against us. That's her right. But it takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even if you believe in something very strongly. She left the verdict up to us. She gambled for support, and I gave it to her. I want to hear more. The vote is 10-2.
Okay, that's fine. If the speech is over, can we please go on?
Juror 9, I appreciate your change of view. Now, excuse me, I need to excuse myself.
If there was anything in the kid's favor, I'd vote not guilty.
I don't see what it is.
Neither do I. You know, she's clutching at straws.
You know, he's as guilty as they get. But that's just the kid.
I know. Well, it's that one juror. She's holding out. She'll come around. Fundamentally, she has to. She's a very reasonable person.
Yeah, I guess so.
She hasn't even come up with one single fact to back a not guilty verdict.
It's hard, you know.
It is, yeah. And what does guilty beyond reasonable doubt even mean?
What's a reasonable doubt?
That's just it. You know, when a life is at stake, what is reasonable doubt? There has to be law and order, and a line has to be drawn somewhere. Otherwise, people would go out knifing each other.
Not much doubt here.
2 people think so. You know, I wonder why. I really wonder why.
Yeah. I mean, you do hear stories of innocent men going to jail or death sometimes, and then later, like years later, things turn up.
Well, and then on the other hand, you hear about stories where killers are turned loose and then they go and kill again. They squeeze through some technicality and then kill again.
Thank you.
Now that you're back, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If the kid didn't kill him, then who did?
As far as I know, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty. We are not concerned with anyone else's motives here.
Okay, but who else had a motive?
The kid's father was along in years, maybe an old grudge.
Remember that it's guilty beyond any reasonable doubt. That's an important thing to remember.
Okay, well, everyone's a lawyer. Now, 9, supposing you tell me what your reasonable doubts are.
Not easy. So far, it's just a feeling I have. Maybe you don't understand?
No, I don't.
Feeling? What are we gonna do? Spend all night talking about your feelings? What about the facts?
Look, the old man heard the kid yell, "I'm gonna kill you." A second later, he heard the father's body falling, and he saw the kid running out of the house. 15 seconds after that.
Where's the reasonable doubt in that?
Where?
That's right. And let's not forget the woman across the street. She looked into the open window and saw the boy stab his father. She saw it.
Now, if that's not enough for you.
It's not enough for me.
Then what is enough for you? Really, I'd like to know.
It's like talking into a brick wall.
The woman saw the killing through the windows of a passing L train. The train had 5 cars, and she saw it through the windows of the last 2. She remembers the most stupid, insignificant details.
What do you have to say about that?
It doesn't sound right to me.
Well, supposing you think about it then, I'm going to go ahead and take a little nap.
A nap? Juror 3, this is a man's life at stake. We don't have time for this.
Okay, what do you know?
This is a man's life at stake.
Who do you think you are?
All right, let's take it easy.
I've got it. Listen, if you were a man, I would hit you.
Just forget it. It didn't mean anything.
Nerve, the absolute nerve.
How about we calm down a little bit?
Please, I don't want
This isn't a game. Who does she think she is?
Weren't we talking about elevated trains?
Yes, we were.
So?
Okay. How long does it take an elevated train to pass a given point?
What does this have to do with anything?
How long would it take? Just take a guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Neither would I.
I don't think they mentioned it.
Juror 5, what do you think?
About 10 or 12 seconds, maybe.
That seems like a fair guess. Anyone else?
I would like to say about 10 seconds, perhaps.
Yeah, 10 seconds.
All right, we agree. 10 seconds. What are you getting at?
This. An L train passes a given point in 10 seconds. Now, that point is the window of the room in which the killing took place. In that room, you can almost reach out of the window and touch the L. Isn't that right?
That's right, I tried it.
So,
okay, well, let me ask you this. Has anyone here ever lived next to the L tracks?
I've lived close to them.
They make a lot of noise, don't they? I've lived next to the L tracks. When your window is open and a train is roaring past, the noise is almost unbearable. You can't hear yourself think.
Okay, you can't hear yourself think. Please get to the point.
The old man who lived downstairs heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you."
The boy didn't say it, he screamed it.
Yeah, the old man downstairs heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you." And 1 second later, he heard the body fall. That's the testimony, right?
Right.
The woman across the street looked through the window of the last two cars of the L and saw the body fall. Is that correct?
right, yeah.
The last two cars. The last two cars.
What are you giving us here?
An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point, or 2 seconds per car. The L had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds and maybe more before the body fell, according to the woman. The old man would have had to hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," while the front of the L train was roaring past his nose. I don't think it is possible that he could have heard it.
What do you mean? Of course he could have heard it.
With an L train going by?
He said the boy yelled it out.
An L train makes a lot of noise.
It's enough for me.
Enough for me, too.
I don't think he could have heard it.
Maybe the old man didn't hear it. I mean, with the noise of the L.
What are you people talking about? Of course he could have heard it. Are you calling the old man a liar?
It doesn't seem to fit.
Well, it stands to reason.
Listen, you're crazy. Why would he lie? What would he have to gain?
Attention, maybe?
Okay, you keep coming up with these wise sayings. Why don't you make a blog or something? You could make some good cash.
What does that have to do with a man's life? Juror 9, I'm sorry. You were speaking? Go ahead and tell us what you wanted to say.
It's just that I looked at the man while we were in court for a very long time, and the seam of his jacket was split under his arm. He was an old man with a torn jacket, and he carried 2 canes. And I think I know him better than anyone here. He's a quiet, frightened, insignificant man who has been nothing all of his life, who has never had any recognition. He's never had his name in the newspapers, and nobody knows him after 75 years. A man like this needs to be recognized and questioned and listened to just once. Very important.
Are you trying to tell me that the old man lied about such a thing just so that he could be important?
No, he wouldn't really lie, but perhaps he'd make himself believe that he heard those words and recognized the boy's face.
Well, if that isn't the most fantastic story I've ever heard, how can you make something like that up?
I'm not making it up.
You must be making it up. People don't lie about things like that.
He made himself believe he told the truth.
What do you know about it?
I speak from experience.
Wait, what?
I am the same man.
Okay, I think we understand it now. Thank you, juror number 9.
Listen, if you want to admit you're a liar, just say it.
No, that is too much.
He's a liar. He just told us so.
He did not say that he was a liar. He was explaining.
Okay, 9. Did you not just say you were a liar?
Please, he was explaining the circumstances so that we could understand why the old man might have lied. There is a difference.
A liar is a liar. That's all there is to it.
Please, have some compassion.
Please, we have our job and our duty here, jurors.
I think they've covered it. It's all
I
good.
hope that we have.
All right, is there anything else? Come on, let's get on with it.
There's something else I'd like to point out here. I think we proved that the old man couldn't have heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you."
Well, I disagree.
Let's hear her out anyways.
But supposing the old man really did hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you." This phrase, how many times have we all used it? For example, if you do that one more time, Junior, I am going to murder you. Or, come on, Rocky, kill him. We use it hundreds of times a day, but that doesn't mean we are actually going to murder someone.
Don't the circumstances alter that somewhat?
Old man was murdered.
And one thing more, the phrase was, "I'm going to kill you," and the kid screamed it at the top of his lungs.
That's the way I understand it.
Right. Now try and tell me that the kid says something like that and doesn't mean it. Because trust me, when people say things like that, they mean it.
Exactly.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you really think the boy would shout out a thing like that so that the whole neighborhood could hear it? I don't think so. He's much too bright to do something like that.
Bright? He's a common, ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't speak good English.
The boy is clever enough.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
The vote is 9-3 in favor of guilty.
Number 5, I'd like to know why you changed your vote.
I think there's a doubt.
Where? Where is the doubt?
There's the knife.
Are you kidding me? She talked you into believing a fairy tale.
Okay, come on. Give us reasons.
The old man, too. Maybe he didn't lie, but then maybe he did. Maybe the old man just didn't like the kid.
That isn't the end.
I believe that there's reasonable doubt.
What are you basing it on, though? Stories that 8 made up? Now, 8, you gotta write for like a crime series or something, because you would make some great money with that. Now, the kid had a lawyer, didn't he? So why didn't the lawyer bring up these points in court?
Lawyers can't think of everything.
Oh my gosh. 8, you sit in here and you pull stories out of thin air. And now we're supposed to believe that the old man didn't get out of bed, run to the door, and see the kid beat it downstairs 15 seconds after the killing?
That's a testimony, I believe.
And the old man swore to this, correct? He swore to this in court.
He did.
Just so he could be important.
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran, walked, it's the same thing.
I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could run.
No, he said he went. I remember it now. He said he went from his bed to the door. I mean, come on, that's enough, isn't it?
Where was his bedroom again?
Down the hall somewhere.
Down the hall somewhere? Are we to send a man off to die because someone's room was down the hall somewhere?
Well, I thought you remembered everything. Don't you remember that?
No, I don't.
I don't remember either.
Miss Foreman, I'd like to see the diagram of the apartment, please.
Why don't we just run the whole trial over just so you can get everything right?
The bedroom is down the hall somewhere. Do you know exactly where it is? Please. A man's life is at stake here.
Well, of course I know.
Miss Foreman, can you please share that file with me?
Look, why are you the only one who ever wants to see these, okay?
I want to see this one too.
I do too.
And I want to stop wasting time.
Are we gonna wade through all that nonsense about where the body was found again?
We're not. We're going to find out how a man who has had 2 strokes in the past 3 years and who walks with a pair of canes can get to the hallway door leading to the stairs in 15 seconds.
He said 20 seconds.
He said 15.
How does he know how long 15 seconds is, okay? How you can't judge something like that.
He said 15. He was very positive about it.
God, come on, he's an old man. You saw that half the time he was confused. How could someone like him be positive about anything? Do you know how?
I don't know. Maybe you know.
Is this the file you wanted?
Yes. Thank you. 1 second here. Oops, sorry, it's technology. Okay.
Pick me up when this is over.
Yeah, I looked at this diagram for 2 hours. Enough is enough.
Some of us are interested. Go on, number 8.
Okay. So this is the bedroom in which the killing took place. The old man's bedroom, or excuse me, the old man's apartment is directly beneath it and exactly the same. Here are the L tracks. This is the old man's bedroom, kitchen, living room, bathroom. Here is the hall that connects to the stairway. Now, the old man was in bed in this room. He says he got up, walked this length here, went out this door, and walked down this 43-foot hallway just in time to open the door and see the boy racing down the stairs. Is that correct?
That's the story, yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
15 seconds after he heard the body fall. His bed is right here by the window. The length of this hallway is 43 feet, and this must be 36, something like that. He had to get up out of his bed, get his canes, walk this length of 36 feet perhaps, open the front door to his apartment, walk down this hallway, open this door right here just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs, all in 15 seconds. Do you think that is possible?
No, it's possible.
I don't see why not.
He would have been in a hurry. He heard the scream.
He can only walk very slowly. They had to help him into the chair.
You make it sound like it's a long walk. It's not.
For an old man who uses a cane, it is a long walk.
Okay.
Okay, I am done with this. But Miss Foreman, could you please pin my video? I want to try something here.
Okay. What are you doing now, huh?
Well, I want to try this. Let's see how long it took for this old man to walk the length of almost 60 feet in 15 seconds.
You're crazy. You can't judge something like that.
Actually, perhaps if we could see it, this is quite an important point.
It's a ridiculous waste of time.
Okay.
Let her do it.
I can't see any harm in it, but foolish, yes. But fine, go ahead.
Well, let's say this is his bedroom door. How long would you say it is from this chair right here, excuse me, to the end of this room?
I'd say probably around 20 feet.
Yeah, just about.
I'd say that was a fair guess. So from here to the end of the room is about 20 feet. Depending on how many times I walk back and forth, it's probably shorter than the length the old man had to walk through, but it's close enough. Wouldn't you say?
A few feet, maybe, but yeah, close enough.
Look, this is absolutely insane, a waste of time. What makes you think you can do this?
We can't stop her.
Do you mind if I try it? According to you, it'll only take 15 seconds. Okay. Does anyone here have a timer or a watch with a second hand?
Oh, I do.
Good. Can you be the timer, please? Okay. So this will represent the front door, his bed. I will sit down here. Now, when I say, or can you please clap and say go? And that will be the body falling. And that will be the start of the timing.
All right.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right. I'm just waiting for the hand to get to 60. Ready? Go.
Speed it up. You walk twice as fast as that.
This is, I think, even more quickly than the old man had walked into the courtroom.
But no, it isn't.
Well, if you want me to go faster, I can.
Please.
Speed up just a little.
Yep.
Okay, now he is approaching the door to the stairs. Okay, and there's the voice. Stop.
Okay.
How long was that?
43 seconds exactly.
That can't be. It's not right.
43 seconds.
Oh, that's interesting.
You guys know that.
What do you think of that?
I mean, 43 seconds.
And the old cripple swore on his oath that it was 15 seconds.
I mean, she may have been a little bit off on the speed that the old cripple moved, but 28 seconds off. Well, now, you know.
Far be it from me to call anyone a liar, and even allowing for quite a difference in speed between the old man and Juror 8, well, there's still quite a
discrepancy.
It's my best guess that the old man was trying to get to his front door, heard someone racing down the stairs and assumed that it was the boy.
I think that's possible.
Come on, assumed? Yeah, listen to me. You people, I've seen all kinds of dishonesty in my days, but this little display takes the cake.
What dishonesty?
Tell them all, okay? 8, you come in here with your heart bleeding all over, telling all these sad stories about slum kids and injustice, and you got all these other old ladies listening, but I'm not. Come on, we're letting this kid slip through our fingers. He's a dangerous killer. He's got to burn.
Our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Well, perhaps you'd like to insert the needle.
God, for this kid, you bet I'd like to.
I'm sorry for you.
Don't start with me.
What it must feel like to want to insert the needle.
Oh, shut up.
You're a sadist.
Shut up.
You want to see this boy die because you personally want it, not because of the facts.
Oh, shut up, okay? I'm going to kill you.
You don't really mean you're going to kill me, do you?
Well, what are you looking at?
I don't see why we have to behave like children here.
Nor do I. We have a responsibility. This is the wonderful thing about democracy, is that we are, what is the word? That we are notified, yes, notified. That we are notified by mail to come down to this place and decide on the guilt or innocence of a man that we have not known before. We have nothing to gain or lose by this verdict. This is one of the many reasons why we are strong and should not make it a personal thing.
Thank you very much.
Why do you thank me?
We forget, and it's good to be reminded.
Well, I'm glad we're going to be civilized about this.
Well, we're still nowhere.
No, we're somewhere or getting there. Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Who's got an idea?
Maybe we could try another vote.
That could work.
Yeah.
There's another vote called for. Does anyone object?
Let's vote.
Yep, let's do it.
Vote.
I want an open ballot this time, okay? I want to see where everyone stands.
That sounds fair. Anyone object to that? Okay. I vote guilty. Juror 2?
I am not guilty.
3?
Guilty.
4?
Guilty.
5,
Not guilty.
6,
Not guilty.
7,
Guilty.
8,
Not guilty.
9,
Not guilty.
10,
Guilty.
11,
Not guilty.
12.
Guilty.
6 to 6.
I'll tell you something. The crime is being committed right here in this room.
Vote is 6 to 6.
I'm ready to walk into court right now and declare a hung jury. There's no point going any farther.
No,
At first, I was alone. Now 5 others agree there is a doubt.
I want to know why you changed your vote, number 11, and why you changed your vote 6, and why you changed your vote 2. 6 men and women here think we are going to set a murderer loose on the streets. Emotions won't do. Why?
It seems the old man might not have seen the boy run down the stairs. I mean, it's not like, I don't think it's likely that he would have heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you." And I mean, old men dream. And even if he had screamed that, we have the authority of this man, juror number 3, to prove he might not have meant he wanted to kill.
Can't we just take this into the judge and let the kid have another shot with 12 other people?
6 to 6. I don't think we'll ever agree on anything.
It's got to be unanimous. And we're never going to convince her.
We are not going to be a hung jury.
But we are, right now, a perfect balance. So let's just take this into the judge.
Look, if there's reasonable doubt, number 8, I don't see it.
The doubt is there in my mind.
Maybe we should vote.
You mean that if we
Not
vote,
again.
you mean that if we vote yes, we are a hung jury, or no, we are not a hung jury?
Right. That's what I was thinking.
But we can't even agree on anything. How is this going to work?
Well, let's make it a majority vote. The majority wins.
If 7 or more of us win, then or vote yes, then we're a hung jury, and we'll take it straight to the judge and tell him so, that we're a hung jury.
Right. And if 7 or more vote no, that means that we aren't a hung jury and we go on discussing it.
Doesn't seem quite right to me.
It's the only solution.
It's the only way.
Anything to end this.
We agreed then? 7 or more votes yes, and we take it to the judge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I vote yes, we're a hung jury. Juror 2?
No.
3?
Yes.
4?
Yes.
5?
No.
6?
No.
7?
Yes.
8?
No.
9?
No.
10?
Yeah.
11?
No.
12?
Yeah.
No.
Is it 6 to 6?
We can't even get a majority to decide whether or not we're a hung jury.
I went along with the majority on this one. But that is not how I feel. I don't feel that way. So I would like to change my vote to no. We're not a hung jury. I believe that there's reasonable doubt that this boy is guilty. And I want to talk it out some more. There are things that I just want to find out from those of you who have changed your votes.
So we aren't a hung jury, and we go on.
Good. We go on.
Number 2, why did you change your vote?
See, number 8, just seems so sure, and he raised a lot of really good points. I mean, juror number 3, he just gets mad and insults everybody.
So you're basing the guilt of a boy off of a juror that gets mad? He did do it, you know. You're going to turn a murderer loose simply because another juror gets angry and upset when he thinks about turning a murderer loose?
Yep, that's true.
I don't think so. You know, the track is straight in front of the window. And let's take that point. L trains make a screech when they're going around curves, but a low rumble when they're going straight. So the old man could have heard the scream, right? And it was high pitched, and And he lives in a tenement, right? They all live in a tenement, and so it's thin walls.
That's it. Good.
And what if the man was wrong about the time that it took to get to the door, but right about whom he saw running down the stairs? And please remember, it's summer, so gloves on the knife, because there were no fingerprints. Gloves seem very unlikely.
I want you to listen, okay? This guy's got the goods.
So it may have taken whoever killed the father a moment to take a handkerchief out and wipe the fingerprints away.
That is the point.
Why don't we just time this one and see?
Just what every timing.
Yes, let's be exact, please.
I'm saying that the old man downstairs may have been wrong about the time that it took to get to the door, but he was absolutely right with whom he saw. I'm saying is that it may have also taken the murderer 43 seconds to wipe away fingerprints and run all the way down to the place where the old man saw him. The boy, that is.
That's right. Yeah.
We could reconstructed the old man getting out of bed and going to the door, and we timed that. Now let's reconstruct the actual crime.
I'm not sure that's really necessary to do all that again.
Yeah, and I think a murderer could use up 30 or 40 seconds pretty easily at that point, so we're good.
I don't believe that we need to reconstruct this, but if you just hear me out, let's talk this through. The man was found on his side, his right side, so he may have staggered around for a little bit. That would have taken at least 2 seconds from him falling and rolling, right? Now, if someone hates someone so much that they're willing to murder them, don't you think it's reasonable that they would at least stand over their victim for a second or two afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, divorce yourself from this particular case. This is just human nature.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it seems reasonable.
Hey, wait a minute. Come on. If he falls and ends up on his right side, stabbing someone isn't like shooting them, even when it's right in the heart. Okay? The father might have worked around a bit, writhed maybe, for a few seconds, lying there on the ground.
That's very quite possible. He would have had enough oxygen in his system to carry at least 2 or 3 more seconds, I would think.
But wouldn't the father have cried out?
And maybe the kid held his mouth.
That also seems possible.
And here's another point to bring out. If someone is mentally clear enough to murder someone and then wipe away fingerprints, don't you think that they'd also be mentally clear enough to look around the room to see if there's anything else that could give them away? You know, I should think that the murderer looked around.
This gets better and better.
Look, we're trying to make it clear. One doesn't talk about quality when murder's involved.
About this on the fingerprints, the kid wiped the fingerprints off the knife. Well, what about the doorknob? If I saw a man coming into my home, a man that hated me, and if he was wiping off the doorknob with a handkerchief as he came in, that would give me an uneasy feeling. Yeah? So the doorknobs must have been wiped after the killing, and this too would take some time.
Exactly. So whoever the murderer was, and I think it was the kid, he still had to, he wiped the doors and then had to run all the way down the hall, at least 1 flight of stairs.
You see, it lines up. It makes sense.
Yeah, so the old man downstairs may have been wrong about the time, but given all this, I think it's very reasonable that he was completely right with whom he saw running down the stairs.
Except for the fact that he absolutely swore under oath that it was 15 seconds.
But we seem to all agree that it was 25 to 40 seconds.
You are now admitting that the old man lied in one case and told the truth in the other. I admit this does tend to confirm the story of the old man, but in part, he is now a proven liar. And this is by your own admission.
Hey, but it may be true that the old man is a liar in part, but I think it'll change my vote once more to guilty.
Okay, what about you, Six? What do you think?
I don't know what I think. I want to talk some more. At first I thought guilty, but then I switched and now I'm kind of leaning back towards guilty again.
11, what about you?
I am now in doubt. Real doubt.
I
Come on.
say guilty. I was right the first time.
Now we're beginning to make sense here.
Seems to be about 9 guilty to 3 not guilty.
One more question about the old man downstairs. How many of you live in apartment buildings? You can raise your hands. I do.
I mean, I don't know what you're thinking, but I know what I'm thinking.
What's that?
It's that I do not live in a tenement, but it is close and there is enough light in the hall just so you can see these steps. No more. The light bulbs are so small, and this murder took place in a tenement. Remember how we stumbled on these steps?
Yes, and the police officers were using big light bulbs, and one even had a flashlight, remember?
Yes, and an old man misjudged the time by 20 seconds on his, and that we all agree. This old man looked down the dark hallway at tenement and recognized a running figure.
He was 100% wrong about the time. It took twice, almost 3 times as long as he thought.
Then could not the old man be wrong about the time?
Listen, that's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. You're just making this up out of thin air.
We're a hung jury. Let's be honest about it.
Do you truly feel that there is no room for reasonable doubt?
Yes, I do.
I beg your pardon, but you may not understand the term.
What do you mean I
reasonable
don't
doubt.
understand it? Who do you think you are to talk to me like that? You come in here running for your life, and now you think you have the audacity to run the show? I can't believe the arrogance of you.
Look, no one is asking where anyone came from
I was born right here.
or where your father came from.
Maybe it wouldn't hurt us to take a few tips from people who come running here. Maybe they learn something we haven't. We're not so perfect.
Please, I'm used to this. It's all right.
It's not all right.
Okay, I apologize. Is that what you want?
That's what I want.
All right, let's stop the arguing. Who's got something constructive to say?
Well, something's been bothering me a little. It's the business about the stab wound and how it was made, the downward slope of it, you know?
Okay, don't tell me we're going to talk about that again. They went over it and over it in court.
I know they did. I don't really go along with it. I mean, the boy he's 5 feet 8 inches tall. The dad is 6'2". That's a height difference of 6 inches. It's a very awkward thing to stab up, especially with a difference of almost half a foot.
Are you not going to be satisfied until you see it? Okay, fine. Let's say this is maybe 6 inches, right? Where my hand is?
It's more than 6 inches.
Or whatever. Just boom. Just like that. In and out. There's your angle. Look at it.
I guess there's no argument.
6, have you ever stabbed a man?
No, of course not.
3, what about you?
All right, let's not be silly.
Have you?
No, I didn't.
Then where do you get all your information on about how it's done?
No, what do you mean? It's just common sense.
5, have you ever seen a man stabbed?
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you all something. The boy was an experienced knife fighter. He was even sent to reform school for knife fighting. Isn't that so?
That's right.
Look at this. I mean, if you open a switch knife and you use it overhand like this, doesn't that seem like kind of an awkward way to handle a knife?
Come on, what are you asking us for?
Well, have you ever seen a knife fight? 5, I'm sorry. I meant 5. Have you ever seen a knife fight? Anyone?
Wait a minute. What's the matter with me? Yes, I have.
In the movies?
In my backyard, on my stoop, in the vacant lot across the street. Too many of them. Switch knives came with the neighborhood where I lived. Funny I didn't think of it before. I guess you just try and forget those things. Anyone who's ever used a switch knife would have stabbed downward. You don't handle a switch knife that way. You use it underhand.
Then he couldn't have made the kind of wound that killed his father.
I suppose it's conceivable that he could have made the wound, but it's not likely. Not if he ever had any experience with switch knives. And
Yeah, neither do I. You know, you're giving us a lot of mumbo jumbo here.
Juror 12, what do you think?
Well, I don't know.
7, what about you?
Want to know what I think? I'll tell you what I think. I'm getting pretty sick and tired of all of this. We're getting nowhere. Let's just break it up and go home.
Before we decide anything more, I'd like to try to pull this all together.
Oh, this should be good.
She has a right. Let her go ahead.
Listen, I want you all to look at this logically and consistently.
We have guilty.
I want to know, is the kid smart or is he dumb?
What do you mean?
This is a kid who has gone to the reform school for knife fighting. The night of the murder, he bought a knife, a switch knife. It would then take a very stupid kid to go and murder a man, his father, with an instrument that everyone would associate with this kid.
I quite agree. He's dumb.
However, if he were dumb, then why did he make the kind of wound that an inexperienced man would make with a knife?
I'm not sure I understand.
To murder someone must take a great emotion, great hatred. And at that moment, he would handle the knife as best as he could, and a trained knife fighter would handle it the way he had been trained. Excuse me, underhand. A man who had not been trained, an amateur, would go overhand. But the kid is being very smart. Everyone knows that he is an experienced knife fighter, so he is smart enough at that moment to make a wound that an amateur would make. That man is a smart man, smart enough to wipe the fingerprints away, perhaps even smart enough to wait until an L train was going by in order to cover the noise. Now, is the kid smart or is he dumb?
Okay, now wait a minute.
Well, the woman across the L tracks saw the murder through the L train, so someone in the L train likely in the murder too.
A possibility, but no one did that we know of.
But it's still take an awfully dumb man to take that chance doing the murder as the train went by.
Exactly. A dumb man, a very stupid man, a man swept by emotion. Probably he heard nothing. He probably didn't even hear the train coming. And whoever did murder the father did it as best as they could.
So
this kid is dumb enough to do everything to associate himself with the switch knife murder. And then a moment after the murder, he becomes smart. The kid is smart enough to make a kind of wound that would lead us to suspect someone else. And yet at the same instant, he is dumb enough to do the killing as an L train is going by. And then a moment later, he is smart enough to wipe the fingerprints away. To make this boy guilty, you have to say he is dumb from 8 o'clock until about midnight, and then about midnight he is smart 1 second, then dumb for a few seconds, and then smart again, and then once again he becomes stupid, so stupid that he can't even think of a good alibi. Now, is this kid smart or is he dumb? To say that this boy is guilty, you have to toss his intelligence aside like a pancake. There is doubt, doubt, doubt. And the old man downstairs on the stand, he swore that it was 15 seconds. He insisted that it was 15 seconds, but we all agree that it must have been closer to 45. For the kid To be guilty, he must be stupid and then smart and then stupid and smart and so on and so on. And also, for the kid to be guilty, the old man downstairs must be a liar half the time, and then the other time he has to tell the truth. There is reasonable doubt.
I'm sold on reasonable doubt.
I think I am too.
I wanted more talk. And I got it.
I want another vote.
Okay, there's another vote called for. I guess the quickest way is a show of hands. Anybody object? All right. Those voting not guilty, raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All those voting guilty? 1, 2, 3. The vote is 9-3 in favor of acquittal.
I don't understand you people. I mean, how can you actually believe that this kid is innocent? I mean, look at how these people lie. I don't have to tell you. I mean, they don't even know what the truth is. And let me tell you, they don't need any real big reason to kill someone either, you know? They get drunk and bang, someone's lying in the gutter. I mean, nobody's blaming them. That's how they are. You know what I mean? Violent. Human life don't mean as much to them as it does to us. What? Where are you going? Look, these people are drinking and fighting all the time, and if somebody gets killed, so somebody gets killed. They don't care. Oh, and I mean, sure, there's some good things about them. I mean, look, I'm the first to say that. I mean, I've known a few who are pretty decent, but that's the exception. Most of them, it's like they have no feelings. They can do whatever they want. What's going on here? Where are you all going? I'm speaking my piece. And listen to me. Look, I'm speaking. They're no good. There's not one of them who's any good. We better watch out. Take it from me, this kid on trial. Well, don't you know them? Listen to me, please. I'm speaking my piece. Just listen to me.
I have had enough of you. If you open your mouth one more time, I swear I am going to do everything in my power to find out who you are. Jury confidentiality won't help you. I will drag your name through every shit pile in this city. I will make sure that your employer knows, that your friends know, that your family and that your children know that you are a racist and a bigot. I will make your life a living hell. You can't hide from me. You won't be able to go out in this town without people looking at you, knowing what a sad, small human you are. I have friends in very high positions in this town, so if you know what's best for you, I suggest you shut the hell up right now. All right, everyone, let's come back. Now, to me, the most damning piece of evidence was given by the woman across the street, who claimed that she saw the actual murder take place.
That's right. As far as I'm concerned, that's the only piece of evidence that matters.
All right, let's go over the testimony. What exactly did she say?
I believe I can recall it. She said she went to bed around 11 o'clock. Now, her bed is right next to the window, and she can see from her bed when lying down right across the L tracks to the window on the other side. She went to bed around 11 o'clock and she couldn't sleep that night. So she tossed and turned and tossed and turned. At around midnight, 10 minutes after midnight, she remembers she looked out the window and saw the boy murder and stab his father. Now, as far as I can see, that is an unshakable testimony.
And that's what I mean. That's the entire case right there.
You know, and frankly, in view of it, I don't see how anyone could vote for acquittal. I don't know. What do you think? Any of you? Number 12, what do you think?
Well, maybe there's just so much evidence to.
Okay, what do you mean, maybe? He's absolutely right. You can throw out all the other evidence.
You know, that's my feeling. Look, I don't deny the validity of the points that 8 has made. Shall we say, one side of the track, there's doubt, but what can you say about the side of the woman? You know, she saw it.
I'm sorry, what time is it?
It is 10 minutes to 6.
Wait, you don't think they'd let us go home, maybe? I've got a kid. We can finish this tomorrow, but I've got a kid at home who's freaking out over a kid in his class that tested positive.
Not a chance.
Juror 2, can't you see without your glasses?
Not clearly.
Glasses are such a pain, aren't they?
Well, what do you do when you wake up at night and want to know what the time is?
I put my glasses on and look at the clock.
I just lie in bed, wait for the clock to chime, you know. My father gave it to me when we were married. My wife and I. 10 years before we found a place to put it up.
Juror 2, do you wear your glasses to bed?
Of course not. No one wears glasses to bed.
The woman who testified that she saw the killing, she wore glasses. What about her?
Should she wear glasses?
She did.
Yes, she wore bifocals.
Yeah, right, bifocals. She never took them off.
Funny, I hadn't thought of that.
I think it's logical to say that she was not wearing her glasses to bed, and I don't think she put them on to glance casually out the window. She testified that the murder took place the instant she looked out and that the lights went out a split second later. She couldn't have had time to put her glasses on then. Now, perhaps this woman honestly thought that she saw the boy kill his father, but I say she only saw a blur.
How do you know what she saw? Maybe she's farsighted. Why do you know all these things?
Does anyone here still think that there is not a reasonable doubt?
I will always wonder, but there is a reasonable doubt.
I think he's guilty.
Does anyone else?
No.
3.
I'm convinced now there's reasonable doubt.
Juror 3, you're alone.
11 votes not guilty, 1 guilty.
I don't care whether I'm alone or not, okay? I have a right.
Yes, you have a right.
Well, I told you, I think the kid's guilty. What else do you want?
Your arguments.
I gave you my arguments.
We're not convinced. We're waiting to hear them again. We have time.
Come on, Thor, what's the matter with you? You're the guy, you made all the arguments. You can't turn now. A guilty man's gonna be let loose on the streets. A murderer, he's got to die. We can't let him get away. Stay with me.
I'm sorry, but I'm convinced. I don't think I'm wrong often, so I guess I was this once. There is reasonable doubt in my mind.
You're not going to intimidate me, okay? I'm entitled to my opinion. This is going to be a hung jury.
Oh, there's nothing we can do about that except for hope that someday, maybe in a few months, why, you might get some sleep.
You're all alone.
Takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.
Give me a minute. All right, okay? Not guilty.
Now, we're going to have a little fun with this to let you know that they all work together when you put them together. And as long as you groove. Remember those chords? Remember that 12, Woo! Don't worry about those ghost notes. Ain't nothing but rebound. Make it sound and feel good. Remember that old triplet we did? Yeah! I like that.